Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. How you doing? Pretty great, probably, right? You're here, you're with us, you're watching the show, and things could be worse, y'all. You know what I mean? We're in the VR community, right? Things are good. I'm Alex VR. I'm a co-host of the show. The other one's here next to me is Skiva.
Hey, what's up, dude?
How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Doing all right?
How are you? I'm doing great. I'm doing very good. Been having a lot of fun this week in VR. You know, I'm playing a lot of After the Fall and hanging out with friends and just, you know, having a good time.
Dude, you're getting... You just are always getting better at After the Fall. Like that's, I was saying this before the show, you know, like some people, they like play games for a long time and who maybe aren't like the most competitive gamers or who don't worry about being great at every game, you know, like this guy here. And but people like you who get into games sometimes and like will play them forever, but like never like get better, never improve their skills. They just stay in there all the time. I'm trying to give you a compliment. And it doesn't sound like it.
It starts with an insult.
I know. What I'm saying is you're getting really good at that game all the time.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate it.
It's admirable to see.
I appreciate it. It's great.
You know, like, for example, myself and Rocket League. Okay, it doesn't matter. I could play Rocket League for the next 10 years, all right? And I know it's not a VR game, whatever, but I can play that game for the next 10 years, and I will, like, never get to that point where I'm not always getting better. Like, there's these plateaus. You know, you just get stuck, and it's like, okay, I guess I don't get better anymore. You know, like unless you put in some time and energy and effort to do so, and you're always getting better. So,
well, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, at least there's one game that you can be good at. You know. I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay, no, that's cool. I'm not. Between the two of us, I am not the good gamer here, but I will shred you in After the Fall. So at least I have that.
And I guess that's what I guess that's it. It's like, hold on, how are you better than me at this? Like, you're not supposed to be better than me at anything. Oh God.
All right. Well,
hello everyone. Welcome back to the Between Realities VR podcast. I'm just going to take it from the top. This is a pre-recorded episode if you guys haven't figured that out yet.
It is. Alex is flying around right now, which is pretty awesome.
I'm doing stuff. I'm in Cincinnati for Startup Cincy as we speak, doing my first real life stuff with Contact CI, and it's all very fun and exciting. But that's not the only thing that's fun and exciting. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening in the VR space right now. There's new exciting games coming to the store. We have exciting guests today.
Yeah.
And it's going to be really good.
Yeah. And a couple days ago, maybe I'll hold that. You do your thing.
Okay. Thank you. I will. So we're not live, right? But that doesn't mean we can't take a moment to say hello to our amazing community, because we have some of the best people in our community in the world that support our show and do so monthly, actually, via Patreon and via channel member of YouTube. And I would like to take a moment to thank them, right? Our VIPs, Robin and Jonathun Zug and CreeperBetty and PotamWorks, baby.
Heck
Smash drums. Go buy Smash drums. Get smashed. Oh, and Cody. Dude, how could I forget my code?
Oh.
My code man chuge. So Robin, Jonathun, CreeperBetty, Potom, Cody, thank you for being our VIPs. Of course, we also have Studioform VR and Aspin Darkfire and John Westra and Lindsay Sherman and Chris Hanney as our all access Patreons, which is crazy because like these are all like people who do stuff.
Yeah,
you know,
right?
It blows my mind.
Right?
It's like, oh, yeah, it's cool. We just got Space Pirate Trainer and, you know, Pistol Whip in here. It's fine. And then, of course, all of our official Patreons. We have deliriemVR, Samson Egelman, Glitch Fandango, Graham Gettel, the Virtual Boys podcast, which is, of course, Shughead and the VR Grid, Ryan, QUIKCOSPLAY, who we had for our very first episode as a little surprise guest.
That was great.
That was good. Jansen Fox as one of our Patreons. Brittany Meland, that's my wife, who took my last name, which is pretty wild stuff, you know, taking somebody's last name.
That is.
Yeah, she's like finishing it all up, you know. It's like the last name things they're getting done, which I appreciate, you know. I like that.
That's good. It's a pain. That's not easy stuff.
No,
so.
and it shows dedication.
Good.
You know, it's like if she's going to go through all that trouble.
Yeah.
Maybe she's not going to run off into the sunset.
Probably not.
Hopefully,
you got a good one.
That I do.
And man, she sure can cook.
That she can. Get you one that does both, everybody. Q2C VR Gamer, our homies. Thank you guys for supporting us. Denise Dettlaff. Thank you, Denise. Michael McQuade, of course, and Bluebell as a Patreon.
Yes.
That's so nice. Yes. And then we have our new YouTube members, right? CreeperBetty, MOBEAST Gaming, Mr. Tasselhoff, Laszlo216, Guido7335, JayBratt, and VROYBOY, our boys and ladies. Thank you for supporting us, and thank you for repping that amazing Between Realities badge next to your name in the chat.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. It really truly means a ton.
It does. That's and like, you know, I want to recognize you guys as often as possible. And I hope I'm in the chat right now and just taking part in all of this recognition because you guys are great. We have guests today, right? You want to do that?
We do.
Did you have something else?
Well, I just wanted to say that we are acknowledging the fact that MetaConnect just happened in this timeline, right? But where we are right now, it hasn't happened yet.
Correct.
So, you know,
we're a couple days away from it. This is going to come out a couple days after it.
Yep.
So that being said, maybe we'll like joke around about, I don't know, a guess of stuff or something like that. But we're not going to be talking about MetaConnect really. Yeah. But whatever. It's not like people tune in here for all of the cutting edge news and stuff, which sometimes they get. And it's always great to deliver that. But I think why people tune in here is because of me.
Yes, that's why I'm here. Look, I get sit next to this guy.
Man, this is we can't do pre-recorded episodes anymore. This is bad. No, the reason why people tune in, other than to hear from Skiva and myself, is all of the amazing guests that we have every single week, and this week is no different. This is a pretty exciting time for today's guest because these guys have been working on I would say, fairly unique VR game that is for the Quest and PC VR platforms that has just released in the future now. I'm talking since Friday on Thursday, October 13th, right?
Yeah.
Thursday, October 13th, their game came out on the official Quest store. It's super, super exciting. So let's just get them in here. We have Aaron and Anthony from the Arcaxer team. What's up, dudes?
Hey guys. Thanks for having us on the show.
Heck yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. You guys just can't get rid of us, can you?
Well, GDC wasn't that long ago, but I've definitely been in and out with you guys since then too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've hung out a few times, I want to say. I mean,
seems like
at least, sat there and chatted during some conferences. And I remember, I think the first time I met you guys is at LA Comic-Con, I want to say.
Yeah.
You guys,
Yeah, you guys gave a panel there. That was awesome.
Yeah, and you guys had a booth and you were showing off the game. And I remember because, it was, that was, the first thing that I remember that happened, the live event that was post-COVID, right?
Yeah.
And then so you guys were there doing VR stuff, but you couldn't put headsets on people's faces yet. So one of you was talking to people and the other one was playing the game so people could see what it was like. So I thought that was interesting.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
That looked like it sucked. Did it suck?
Yeah, we were. The hardest part was just playing the game over and over and over and over again for 3 days straight.
Yeah, I can imagine, right? Because you want people to play it. You've played it a million times, right? You've coded it, right?
But you weren't
Exactly.
were you casting? Were you casting your gameplay or something? Is that how it was working?
We just had it hardwired to my laptop.
Oh, okay.
And then we were just using side quests and their little streaming application.
Gotcha. Using SideQuest, using streaming, using App Lab, using all of these backwards ways to make things happen, but not anymore. Am I right, gentlemen? We're out on the Quest store, kind of, right? We're in the past, in the future, but it's happening. There's this thing.
By the time people are listening, we're out there. So
super exciting.
Back.
So I feel like this is a good place for us to start. Because, this is a conversation that permeates multiple kind of areas of the VR community. And it's the whole App Lab, SideQuest, Quest Store debacle, debate, battle. You know, like it seems like getting onto the quest store it takes, I don't know, like magic and luck and a little sprinkle
Wizardry,
of pixie dust, you know,
acts of God.
like like what is going on? So, you know, you guys did it though, right? Like it's happened, and it wasn't exactly an easy road to get here, was it? If I had to guess, I don't know. I mean, was this a bumpy road to get to where you are today?
Oh yeah, it was definitely, like you said, the entire way was kind of definitely a question mark. There was never any guarantee that we were ever actually going to get on the MetaQuest store. At some point, we kind of just decided, okay, well, maybe we're just an App Lab game.
I had kind of given up hope about, I don't know, a month before our guy reached out to us.
Yeah. But turns out if you just you keep updating your game, you stay engaged in the community, and you know, you make something cool, eventually Papa Meta notices you.
You refuse to go away.
Refusing to go away. That's a good one of it, man, because that goes for gamers or games developers and otherwise YouTubers, anything
in life.
Yeah, like if you refuse to go away, like, and people just can't ignore, like there's been times where I've tried to ignore people, you know, I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever, I'm just gonna pass over that, and then like they just don't go away and they're always there, and then it's like, okay, I guess I love you, you know, like I tried to ignore you, but you just wouldn't go away, and now here you are, you know, you're successful, so that's great. Maybe we should talk a little bit about the game, right? Because I'm sure there's some people watching who have not heard of Arcaxer yet, who haven't had an opportunity to play it yet. That is, of course, neither one of us. We've known about the game for a long time, but why don't you guys, I don't know, who likes to do this? Who likes to talk about what the game is?
That's my job.
Nice. All right, what is this game?
So Arcaxer is a turn-based action RPG with a third-person overworld and first-person combat. So kind of how the game works is you like explore the overworld with this third-person camera where you're kind of looking down at your character. It's got like very retro vibes. We wanted it to feel like you're playing like an old like SNES style like JRPG. So you do like dialogues in the overworld, story events, explore dungeons. And then when you get into a battle or go into combat or fight a boss, the game switches into first person. And then now you're kind of put into this turn-based combat system where you have to like aim and do gestures to fire your spells and use your weapons until you use all your actions. And then when it's the enemy's turn, you have to actively dodge their attacks with your head. So you're actually using your body to move around, which is why we call it a turn-based action RPG.
Yeah, and it is, I guess, a little bit more alive than a lot of like turn-based combat or in other games. You know, I mean, I guess if I was going to compare it to one of those old school turn-based battle systems, I would maybe compare it more to like a Chrono Trigger or something, where it like almost feels like it's still like moving forward at all times. It's not like super rigid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's all like if turn-based combat turned into dodgeball on the enemy turn.
Yes.
We like to compare it to games like Paper Mario, where it's turn-based, but there's still like some action-based input you have to do when you're actually using your abilities.
Yeah, Paper Mario is a good way to put it. And there's also kind of this like cool, I don't know, like weird like hacker crypto kind of story. You know, it's kind of got this like almost like a little darkness to it. What's going on with the story in this game?
So the story of the game is that you're playing inside of this world that we call the Sim, where all the people in this simulation are created from like people's data gathered on the internet. So it's like this system that scrapes the internet for like your socials and your things you posted on message boards, and then it kind of like creates this persona based on all your data, and that's what all the people are in this world. But when you enter this world, you're captured by this entity called Taskmaster, who is basically like capturing all these new entities that get spawned into the world, and he's forcing them to fight for him up this giant dungeon called the Stack. And there's a rumor that at the top of the stack, there's some amazing, crazy treasure that nobody knows what it is, which is why he's like capturing these people and making them fight for him. Nice.
Taskmaster, huh?
Yeah.
Can I get up to my keyboard and control alt delete during the battle scene? Is that him?
Yeah.
Is he the task the Taskmaster, like
Task
Control
Manager.
Alt Delete.
Yeah, he does have Control Alt Delete tattooed across his stomach in his Tupac zone.
I think he
Yes.
actually yells Control Alt Delete during one of his attacks as well.
Does he? Oh, that's so cool.
That is amazing.
It doesn't work because he's currently blue screening, and he always is. So he's beyond help.
His face is a blue screen.
Blue screen of death. Look it up, kids. Yeah. Well, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's I love the like kind of like I don't know, I guess sci-fi, right? It's almost like a sci-fi storyline. Is this something that you guys had an active part in? Like, were you sitting there dreaming up this story, or do you like have like creative like storytelling kind of people that you pull in to do this?
No, the story was all written by me. I did all the dialogue, and the story was written in a very loose way, I'd say. I kind of had the major story beats planned out from the beginning, but as we like developed each dungeon, I'd kind of just write the dialogue as I went.
Nice.
So there is a very loose feel to it.
Yeah,
There was definitely a couple of times where the story kind of forked, where Anthony was kind of describing what was going on, and like, over the week or over that conversation, you could see him realizing, no, this is a better idea.
nice.
It's pretty fun to keep
So
it going.
is the story like is it like an outlet for a creative expression for you guys, or is it more of like a means to an end, because sometimes when I think of developers, I don't really think of them as like wanting to be storytellers. I imagine them to being like program makers and like coders, and like they're more into the mechanics and that kind of thing. So do you find that this is like an outlet for you creatively as well, or are you doing it, like I said, as like a means to an end?
Oh, it's absolutely an outlet. Ever since college, I've wanted to create some kind of media that tells a story. And the main theme of this game is like something I'm very passionate about, which was the whole game's kind of focused around this theme that man is more good than evil, which is it's a story I've been wanting to tell for a long time, and I thought this game would be a really good medium for that.
That's great.
And if the 90s anime aesthetics of the game appeal to you, the story will too.
Oh, that's good. That's good to hear. Aaron, do you have an opportunity to collaborate when it comes to like the direction of the story, or is it kind of like Anthony's baby and he's the one that's like controlling that?
For the big story, it was Anthony. I was definitely there a couple times. He hit roadblocks in his ideas, but mostly I was a wall he bounced ideas off of till something kind of shook loose.
Mm-hmm.
I made the characters, I made the environments, I made the boss monsters. And that all kind of fed into the story, but that was more, little details and little facets. Whereas, the big arcing story was Anthony's the mangaka on this one.
Nice. I love it. Well, it's really cool. I love the vibes of it. It's like, it's funny because when I said like, oh, do you have to like get up and like hit your, keyboard and do, Control Alt Delete or whatever. If for some reason this is so much reminding me of the Sega Genesis game X-Men. I don't know if you guys ever played Sega Genesis, but
I didn't.
On Sega Genesis, in the X-Men game, it's a side scroller, like a beat 'em up side scroller kind of thing, and you get to this level where you have to reset the computer. That's like your task, so you get into this room and it like locks you in there, and they don't tell you how to do it. So you're like jumping around the space, like punching things in the background, like using your special abilities, like trying to figure out what the hell needs to happen. And I never figured it out as a kid, just playing on my own, until I saw it written somewhere that you literally had to get up and hit the reset button on your Sega Genesis, which is not something that you do during a gameplay session on Sega Genesis. You hit that reset button, you just went back to the very beginning. Like that is like, you stay away from the console when you're that far into a game. But they somehow rigged this game up to where when you get to that scene and you hit reset on your Sega Genesis, the level like goes to like a bunch of binary stuff and then like reloads into the next scene. Like I will never forget.
That's pretty
about
wild.
That.
That's so cool.
I love stuff like that. That reminds me of like in the Metal Gear Solid Psycho Mantis.
Yes.
Like tell you to put your controller on the ground and then it would vibrate to move. Or like I think there was a part where you'd have to like read the back of the game box to like get a code to progress in the game at some point.
Yeah.
Like
that's a good example of DRM.
It's that fourth wall breaking stuff I love so much.
And I feel like Arcaxer universe is just prime for something like that. Maybe I haven't discovered it yet and it's there, and maybe this is just an opportunity for you guys to just take it and sneak it in there for me at some point. But I feel like your universe, for some reason I wanted to share that story about X-Men after talking about your game. So I don't know. I guess
So,
There are some kind of fourth wall breaking puzzles in the game, especially with the overworld. Like, I'll spoil one of these. In Coffee Lake, there's a guy that talks about the pose that establishes dominance, and if you talk to him while you're T-posing in real life with your controllers, he'll give you an item.
oh,
Yes.
So
no
if you're
way.
posting meme lord, you get an advantage on that one.
yes.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about, guys. More of that. More of that, everybody. You hear this,
There's a
developers?
couple of cool secrets that Anthony has throughout the game, and lots of weird little jokes thrown in for internet culture and people who remember playing those games in the 90s. One of my favorites is it gets every streamer we have. One of the signs says you can read these signs by pressing A or just pushing your face up real close. Everyone does it, and it says "lol JK."
Oh, that's great. Trolling your players. I love it.
So
So definitely we try to have that dynamic with our players.
I love that. I remember seeing that, and I was like,
I watch every streamer who plays it. Every single one of them does it.
That's awesome. So your characters and everything in this game, you talk about being data, right? And being data that's been pulled from you and pulled from other people on the internet, right? What does this have any real life stuff to it? Like, are you like pushing out messaging here? Like,
is there like a moral to the story?
Yeah,
kind of thing?
yeah. Because we are in a time of Facebook and like Google and all of these companies that just eat up all of our data, and it creates this mega monster in the background of all of this data and everything that we're doing and what we're looking at and blah 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 blah. Right. So this is all cool. I love the story of this game, and very curious on kind of how that came to be and what the moral here is.
I wouldn't say that I didn't really push too hard for the moral of like you shouldn't be putting all this data on the internet. Well, there are consequences of that in the game, so I could say that that's like a lesser theme to some degree. But we more push the message of like you shouldn't be an asshole on the internet. Right?
Good. That's a good message.
Your digital persona on the internet like represents you, and you shouldn't, act like a terrible person just because it's on the internet.
That's a really good concrete example is the third level, the Whistler block. One of the first mini boss is this silly little sailor man, and then like the real boss for that level is his evil version. That's all, a tatted up pirate who is there to kill you.
Nice. I like that. That's good. That is a good message to have. Don't be a jerk. Like, if everyone lived their life like that, imagine the world we live in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the message that the old prophets were trying to get across back in the day. And
sure. Just be cool, people.
Yeah.
Just be cool.
Just be cool. Right? It's that easy. How many? What's like a typical gameplay like length? Right? Like about how long can I expect to spend in Arcaxer from beginning to end?
We like to say if you're fast, you can probably finish the game in 15 hours. But if you're playing the game more casually, or if you're bad like Aaron, it'll take you closer to 20 to 25 hours to finish the game.
Wow.
If you're bad like Aaron, it's 30 hours.
Dang, so there's some meat on the bone here then for those RPG fans. Like, you aren't kidding when you're saying you're trying to deliver like that SNES length RPG experience.
Yeah, that's from the get-go. My main goal for this game was I wanted to make a game that you could really sink some time into and like build a character up, because I felt like at the time that we started working on this game, there weren't a lot of VR games that allowed you to really like grind up stats on a character, which is like that. My favorite kinds of first-person or single-player games are RPGs. So I thought that VR could definitely use more of that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And this has been available on Steam for some time now, and App Lab, right? But along with this update and this store launch comes a massive patch, a massive update, I should say, not a patch, an update that brings all of these like even more and more hours into this game, right? So that's pretty wild. Not only are you launching on a new store, but you have implemented all of this new content.
Ooh, so is this update something that like people who already played the game to completion will be happy about, or is this something that is like woven into the mesh of the game and like from the beginning you kind of take the most advantage of it?
Yeah, this is less of a content patch and more of a overhaul.
It is a little of both. This patch does bring a new secret boss at the end of the game, so players that have completed all the content will have something new to experience. But in addition to that, if you're a new player or if you just want to play the game again, we've gone through, added polish to everything, redone a lot of the UI. We have a new mixed reality mode that we're really excited about that allows you to explore the third-person dungeons with the pass-through features of the quest, and then actually battle enemies in the dungeons with pass-through as well. So it'll be like you're fighting them right in your living room.
Cool.
Yeah. That's sick. That's super cool, because there's not a lot of games that take advantage of the Quest 2's pass-through right now. Plus, during MetaConnect that just happened in the future, there was rumored to have been released a Quest Pro with full color pass-through.
Right.
So that will be even better to be able to put these dungeons like right in your living room and be able to kind of see around you, but also play a game right in front of you.
Do I have to pick like before I like start the game, like before I load in, or can I just like bounce back and forth?
There's a setting, there'll be a new setting in the options so you can turn on and off at any time during the game. You can toggle on and off the overworld pass-through and the combat pass-through separately. So if you just want the pass-through in the dungeons, you can do that and then have the immersive battles, or you can do it the other way around, whatever you like better.
Sweet.
That's pretty sick.
Right on. All right, cool. So now we know what this game is, right? It's been out for a minute. If you've got your finger on the pulse, you've probably already played this game by now. But if not, this is a very exciting new time because it's on the official Quest store, so it's the real deal, and it's coming super polished and super exciting. But I am curious a little bit now. We kind of explored it just for a minute earlier, but your journey, right, from side quest to app lab to now the official Quest store. What do you think, if you could try to pinpoint it, is like the difference that made a difference here? Like why now and not then?
Honestly, I would say it was really just an accumulation of everything. One, I think the most important thing was just that we had a lot of really good reviews. I think obviously it's important to have a good game that stands out, and also makes sense on Meta's platform. It needs to be a game that they can look at and say, okay, yes, this makes sense in VR, and it has a market on our headset. And then two, I think having a lot of good reviews helps show them that, okay, people are enjoying this game. There's a lot of people playing this game. There's definitely a reason for us to release this.
Yeah, so you think it's mainly just the engagement then? Like a lot of reviews, a lot of people playing it, and just like getting those high level, like the high number of engagement compared to other stuff?
Yeah,
I think that was a lot of it. And like Anthony said, it was time is the secret ingredient on this one. Mm-hmm. We kept pushing our community outreach. We kept pushing our engagement with the wider VR audience. We kept getting on new YouTube review channels, and eventually we kind of hit that critical mass.
So I guess the piece of advice for developers who are like wishing they could get on the Quest store is keep going, right? Don't stop. Like make your game better, add more, get more people to review it, get it on YouTube. Like just push. Is
make
that
good
it?
Stuff,
and have it be good.
Mm-hmm.
Make a good game first.
Good. That's the hard part for sure.
Yeah, well, I'm stoked to get through some more of the content in this game, because when I played this game, the new patch, the new content was not there yet. So I'm excited. It's really cool. It's cool because you do when you're fighting and you're using spells, you're using gestures, and you're not just pushing buttons. You're not like picking things and shooting fireballs, like you're actually doing the thing. Mm-hmm. How hard is that to implement because I've seen some games try this, and some are successful and some it hurts a little bit.
I would say especially like our casting system was something we have developed for a long time. We actually took some of the code from our previous game, Wave Magic, that was unfinished. One of the few things I really liked about that game were the mechanics of the casting. So I actually borrowed that for Arcaxer, which definitely helped to get us a combat system that felt really cool.
From the beginning of Wave Magic, motion-based casting was like Anthony's bedrock. It started off with like one of his friends was talking about doing, fire jutsu with your hands. And that's just kind of the idea that it started out.
So
Nice.
are you guys? So you guys are Overrun Games, right? That's the name of the company. And is it just the two of you?
It's mostly the two of us. We're the two main guys. I do all the programming. Aaron does all the 3D art, and then we sometimes we contract people to do stuff here and there. Like Madison Johnson did our 2D concept art for like our store page splash art and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We've had musicians do a couple songs here and there. Like my buddy Troy Spoon did a couple tracks for the game, and then we have a very cool guy in Discord that goes by that guy who did metal covers of all our battle tracks.
Nice.
We actually have an item you can get in the game that's it's a weapon that looks like a guitar, and if you equip it, it changes all the battle tracks in the game to his metal cover version.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Actually, it looks like his guitar too. He gave me the specific model that he really liked.
That's so great.
Wow.
He must be so stoked about
Wow.
He's a really big fan. Like Anthony was saying, he was making metal covers for us during kind of early COVID. Anthony would release a new song on his SoundCloud, and like that guy would have a boring meeting and record a speed metal cover of it.
that. That is so great. I can't wait to hear those. I need to get my hands on that guitar in the game as quickly as possible. That's super rad. Yeah,
So-
I love it.
Dang. So you guys are the main people that are Overrun Games, right? How did you come to meet? How do you know each other? How did you begin working with each other?
Yeah, we met in college at Chico State. We lived on the same floor one year, and we just kind of were friends in the same program. And we actually didn't wind up in a lot of the same classes just because our schedules were like offset by 6 months. But because I was bored and I did 3D stuff, and Anthony was making pretty cool games and he wanted to use not stock assets, I would churn out a couple quick things for a few of his projects here and there. And it's kind of developed from there.
Nice. Cool. So you've developed, I'm guessing, probably a pretty solid friendship during all of this. And do you live in the same state even, or are you doing all of this stuff remote?
Yeah, we're in the same city now. After
right up the street.
Nice. Cool. That's awesome.
Sweet.
Very
Would you say that there's any like clear advantages? Because I can imagine what the advantages of having a bigger team would be. It seems pretty self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, there's obviously some disadvantages, right? More people to, have like creative differences with and that kind of thing, whatever. But, I am curious. I feel like it would be harder to identify what the advantages of having such a tight and small team would be. So what do you guys think is working for you when it comes to like being a two-man team? And do you imagine that things could be better in the future if you decide to grow the team?
So for one thing, having a small team means that we can, if we have an idea that we like, we can put it in the game immediately. There's no like you said, bumping heads with other people and creative differences or anything. It's just, I like this idea. I'm going to program it. I'm going to put it in the game. There's no code review. There's no one to tell me that my spaghetti code is too spaghetti. I already know it's spaghetti. So I do it. I put it in the game and it's done.
From a practical standpoint, my favorite advantage is we didn't have any money, so we could just do whatever we wanted to. And with two people, it was still able to stay fairly focused while, we were throwing in random nonsense. Whereas if we'd had 7 people and no money, I think the tendency to turn it into just a mess around project that didn't mean anything might have taken over, and we wouldn't have had this cool game.
I see. So you guys were able to kind of just like hone in on the passion a little bit and, churn out something that meant something to you, as opposed to having so many people involved that it wasn't an advantageous decision, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right.
Sweet. Well, this is pretty exciting stuff, guys. Anybody who knows VR knows that the Quest is where the money is made, right? So hopefully by this time on Friday, you guys are just swimming in a like Scrooge McDuck, you know, just like with the cold coins, just swimming in it and loving it, right? Because that's another advantage to having a small team, you know. It's like if this thing's great, then it's just you guys. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It is the dream.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are making games. So you guys are making games, and obviously that means you're gamers, right?
Yeah.
I haven't played a lot of things like Arcaxer before. Things that switch from first person to third person with dungeons and it's a very, like Alex was saying earlier, it's a very unique game. What kind of games did you guys play growing up or previously, just during your gaming years, that kind of maybe influenced where this game went?
Like I said before, I'm a really big fan of like classic JRPGs. So I'd say this game was heavily inspired by games like the classic Final Fantasies on the SNES. I'm a really big fan of all the Shin Megami Tensei games like Persona,
Nice.
like the Dragon Quests. Pretty much any like retro style JRPG, I'm all about it.
Nice. That's cool. Did you play things like, did you play some of those old retro, like, I mean, forgive me for saying this, but you look maybe too young to have grown up with like Nintendo, right? Like the original, right? So how did you get into like more retro style games?
Well, let's see. The hot consoles when I was a kid were like the N64 and the PS1. So maybe not as retro as someone might think of as being a retro console. But when I was
Final
in high
Fantasy
school,
VII is pretty old though.
yeah, I'd still say Final Fantasy VII is pretty retro.
Yeah,
But when I was in high school, I got super into like retro computing and retro gaming. I would spend a lot of my time researching about old consoles like the Atari 2600.
Nice.
And I spent a lot of time in emulators. I went to a high school that was built around everyone having a laptop. So I'd spend all my classes just playing a Mega Man on the NES. Any classic game you could imagine on NES and SNES emulators. So
wow, so you have played a lot of these games then, and through the power of emulation. And that's awesome.
Emulators are great.
They are. I remember emulators first coming about, right? And you needed a PC, but now there's handheld devices. You can use them on anything. You can load emulators on your Quest and you know, play retro games, and that's awesome. That's so cool because it's such a wide gambit of all kinds of games from all different time periods and that are accessible now to people. So that's great. Super cool.
What were you playing, Aaron?
You know, actually, I was in a pretty similar boat. A lot of my friends in middle school and high school were weebs, and they told me about this really cool website called Cherry ROMs. So I just had everything on the SNES and a bunch of viruses on my family computer. And I spent a lot of time playing Earthbound and Super Mario RPG. And
I love Super Mario RPG, dude. That game is so good.
Weird.
It is so good. I love that game.
Yeah. And
like,
yeah, so especially in terms of like the visuals and stuff, that kind of time period in my life is definitely important. So a lot of 90s anime and a lot of weird old JRPGs went into the visuals for Arcaxer.
Nice.
So, MetaQuest Connect, Meta Connecting, that thing happened, right? Yeah. It happened.
Probably.
So we know now, we don't know, but we all know how much the Quest Pro is.
We think that will be a thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Zuckerberg announced it was $500 for the super ultra high def Quest Pro.
Yeah,
cool.
but
the shocking thing was that he said the first 1 million units were free. I wasn't expecting.
Okay, so these are some outlandish things you guys are saying right now. But for real though, how much do you think it's going to be, you guys? How much? I'm assuming that we've heard a price, and just for funsies, we'll see how close we were. How much is that Quest Pro?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna predict this. I'm gonna predict $1,200.
Anthony's been around the hardware for a very long time, and he's seen pretty much every model. So I'm just gonna trust him on that one. I think $1,200.
1,201.
Okay, you're right. Sorry, 1,100. $99.
Oh, great. You guys really sandwiched me in here.
What do you think, Skiva?
You know, there's been a lot of talk of $1,200, $1,500, $1,800. I don't know. I just have this idea, this thing that makes me gravitate more towards like $800, like doubling the price of the Quest, heavily subsidized headset by Meta, to really, at least at first, to really make this appeal more towards being able to buy these in bulk for companies and schools. And so I don't know, I'm going to go with 800. I know that is not a popular opinion right now, but yeah.
I'm all in favor of magical thinking, so maybe we can make this happen.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's interesting because when you think about who the headset's for, it's certainly not the regular consumer, right? Maybe some consumers will buy it, but they're not approaching it with the consumer mindset at all. So they're probably not too worried about the price point, frankly.
Yeah, maybe not.
They're probably like, yeah, we can just release it at whatever we want it to be. And that's where I start to imagine maybe like a $14.99 kind of situation.
Well,
I think
with the recent price increase on the Quest, it could be that they're just done subsidizing hardware. So
right. And they're like, cool, no, we want to make actually a couple $100 off of each one of these things. And companies are going to scoop up 10, 20 at a time, and they're not, $200, $300, $500 difference.
Yeah, it's all weird to me because this is a Pro, which a lot of companies, it's not really for companies. Do you know what I mean? Like they put a Pro on that and it's only to say it's more money, right? Because here's the deal with Meta is their terms of service say that they can take all of this data and anything that you use that this device for, and and they're talking about putting this stuff in companies and putting this stuff and doing things like workrooms where companies go in and they talk about trade secrets and trade data, right? And I think a lot of companies and legit enterprises look at their terms of service and go, okay, but we're not talking about anything that's like mission critical to our business here. Do you know what I mean? Like you guys are capturing all this data. It's probably not a good idea. Now, things like training and things that don't matter, there's no trade secrets being shared. There's nothing being talked about. Like, yeah, absolutely. That's cool. You're not actually using the hardware to make money. You're using the hardware as a tool in your business. So maybe that's the case. So I just think it's all really, really interesting, right? Because you've got things like the Vive Focus 3, which is a great headset, really built for enterprise. Their data terms of service aren't like Meta's, right? So it's interesting. I could go either way on any of this,
right?
What was the HoloLens 2 price point? That one's pure enterprise, and it was like what, $3,200?
I think it came out. It didn't come out at like $2,200 or $3,000 or something like that. I mean, yeah.
And that one was very clearly not public facing. So that price, if they mean Pro, they probably wouldn't have given it a name like Pro. That's true,
right? But meanwhile, you have like the PS4 Pro come out, and that's not for enterprise.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, Pro just means this costs more.
Yeah. Or it does more than the last one.
We'll see how boring the name is, might be how high the price goes. So it comes out and it's the Meta Business Solutions 3007. We're talking $4 or $5 right there.
So there's a lot of headsets getting talked about right now, right? We're talking about the Quest Pro. We've seen leaks thanks to Bradley about the Quest 3, and maybe we've even heard more about it by the time this episode comes out. And then we've got the Pico 4, right? We've got PSVR 2 on the horizon. We've got, I guess, Apple working on something.
Apple Reality, and all
this.
PSVR 2.
Aaron, I'll start with you. What do you think is what are you most excited for when you're looking into the future of all of these headsets? Which one do you want to get your hands on the most? Which one do you think is going to be the most successful?
I'm a very ground level user. I'm a practical, cheap guy, so I really like the Quest 2. It's all in one. It's 6 off. It's wires free, and I think $400 still. It's not bad for consumer grade hardware. So I'm a big fan of the Quest 2 and things that continue in that niche of affordability and accessibility. Anthony's got more interesting answers on this one.
Yeah, but what about tomorrow, though? Like tomorrow, are you looking Quest 3? Are you looking PlayStation 2? Are you which
Probably
direction?
Not the PlayStation 2, because it's a $700 box wired to an $800 box that you probably can't get your hands on, and then you have to clear space in your living room, and then you have to fight with your little sister. So that's not really the one that I'm looking for. Whatever if Pico comes out and their next headset is an affordable hands-free, ultra high def, ultra wide frame headset that weighs 6 ounces. Like, you sign me up. Yeah. But
yeah. What do you think, Anthony?
I think I'm really excited about the Quest Pro based on the leaks. I think especially if they do go in this direction of like making it a half mixed reality, half VR headset. Just from a lot of like the mixed reality stuff I've done, I feel like that's going to be a really big thing in the future. And I think putting a bigger focus on like AR stuff is going to be really cool. And I can't wait to see what people do with like things like full color pass through in the future.
Well, I hope, I don't know. I don't share that sentiment. I really don't, to be honest. The whole like color pass through, any pass through, frankly, for me has not been exciting. It hasn't really gotten me super amped, you know, like AR on the other hand, like AR glasses. Yes. That, in my opinion, is very, very exciting. But pass through, like looking at like a video feed of the room around me doesn't really make me feel like I'm in my room. You know what I mean?
That's crazy because the pass through is like one of my favorite features. But I get where you're coming from. It's very Johnny mnemonic, where it's like, this is not right. But I love it.
I will say I've used a lot of the latest and greatest AR headsets. Not sure if I'm allowed to say which ones, so I won't. But compared to the kind of prototype color pass-through stuff, I don't know what it is, but for me the pass-through is almost more convincing than looking at actual reality for me, and I don't know why.
Well, we might need to consult a doctor about that one.
My guess would be because the quality and like placement of the assets that you can pull into that is so good. It's like far beyond anything that people can do in AR. You know, like they're like trying to project that image to like a piece of transparent glass versus putting it in an actual like space in VR. You know what I mean? Yeah,
we've used a lot of the latest and greatest stuff too, and everything we've used has super pros and super cons.
Right.
You know, like you look at like one of the coolest AR experiences that I've done is maybe, I mean, there's a few, but maybe like the Vario XR3, because the images that they place in the real world are so high definition, right? But at the same time, the cameras are very high def pass through, but it is not nearly the clarity of the asset they're placing in the room. So there's a disconnect there, and it does kind of pull you out a little bit. But something like the Magic Leap 2, which is one of both of our favorite AR experiences, I think, right?
I loved it.
Is great, but there's still not rock solid stabilization of the image within the area, and that can also be a little bit, you know, kind of pulls you out of the experience. But this is a very, I think we're in a really good spot here for the very beginning of what's going to be an AR evolution. Because my kids, you know, my kid will absolutely grow up with everything being augmented, with reality being augmented, going to the optometrist and buying glasses, and they all have AR built into them. Do you know what I mean? I see this as the future. You know, walking through the grocery store, looking at things and items popping up with, you know, oh, I can only have gluten-free things, or I can only have this. This has dairy. Like, ding, ding, don't get that. You know, like like these types of things, and being able to see, you know, arrows on the roads to tell you where to go, as opposed to having a GPS on your dashboard, and, you know, just normal, typical things that you would want to use in real life every day, having AR as a tool. And that's one of the reasons I'm probably most excited to see where Apple goes with this. I am super, super stoked to see what the Apple Reality actually is. Right? Because, I mean, they're going to have the highest definition color pass-through, super high def screens from the rumors that we've heard. You know, Tim Cook has been saying things lately about how excited he is and the technology that he expects to see in the future.
And there's no way that it's just going to be a VR headset.
No, it's not.
Like, it's going to be something.
No, it's not. This is not how they roll. They don't do. You know what I mean? They don't do that. They didn't put out an iPhone to be like, this is a handheld gaming device. That's not what it is. It's a tool for life. You know, it's your calendar. It's how you connect with people. It's how you work. It's how you talk and you transact through your banks and you do all of these things. And that's exactly, I think, what the Apple Reality will be too. It'll be augmenting and being a tool for how you will live your life differently. But it will also, people aren't going to walk around with something over their eyes, and even with color pass-through, right? I mean, it's a little socially weird still, so you're not going to see that in the grocery store or whatever, right? But it's the beginning. It's the beginning of something super special, and this is going to be a very expensive dev unit, in my opinion, right? And I think it's going to make a huge splash for people going into the Apple store to go pick up the iPhone 14 or 15 or whatever it's going to be at the time. They're going to try this and be like, "Oh my god!"
Any of this resonating with you, Anthony?
Yeah, definitely. I am actually super excited for, like you're saying, for everyone to kind of have these like AR glasses just in everyday life. I'm sure this isn't surprising, but I'm much more excited about the gaming implications. Mm-hmm. I'm one of the few people that still plays Pokemon Go, and nice. I just think it would be so amazing to just be walking around a city with AR lenses on my face and be able to just like see monsters everywhere and just be able to like grind XP as I'm walking to work or something by just firing magic at things as I'm walking around. I'm sure I'd look like a crazy person.
But we all will at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I mean, I'm sure people said that when they were talking about how handheld devices are going to change the world. Like, oh, we're all just going to be sitting on park benches looking at our hands like crazy people. You know, like, not so crazy. I just
finished a rewatch of Seinfeld, and they had some very dim views of people using cell phones.
Interesting.
Technology moves quickly.
That it does. Especially now. It does. Especially now. Like,
so talking about all of this new hardware, kind of bringing it back to Arcaxer again a little bit. We know that you guys are compatible with Steam VR based headsets. We know that you have now a very heavy Quest presence, which is awesome. Do you, or is there anything you can say about future hardware that you might be landing on? PSVR 2, any of these new headsets? Do you see yourself, Pico possibly? Any of these headsets?
We will be on the Pico store. We actually are on the Pico store already in China, and we're waiting on getting approved for the other regions. So you will be able to play it on the Pico 4, which everyone's super excited about.
Heck yeah.
We're still looking into PSVR. I'd love to be on PSVR too, but we haven't really done a whole lot of work on figuring that out yet. But I do think that would be really awesome as well.
I think Arcaxer would be a great fit. Especially with the head haptics, right? Because that's when you take damage is when your head gets hit by something. So then to have a haptic sensation when it hits your face, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Of course.
Like I ended up saying, we're on the Pico, we're also on the Nolo, we're on the Chiyu. And then, PSVR, once we finish this launch, we're going to go back into worrying about the rest of the world instead of just the Quest. We've got Pimax and PSVR that we're trying to talk to.
Nice. Sweet. Pimax.
Excellent. Yeah, because Pimax has a store that's coming.
Really?
Right, because they have standalone stuff coming, and they're implementing an entire store of their own. So we're gonna have the Pico store, and the Apple store, and the Quest store, and Steam. And,
how long are we gonna talk about Pimax? Like, are they always gonna be around? Like,
they've surprised us so far, haven't they? Right? They do a lot wrong, but they also do some things right. You know what I mean? Like, they would be in a much better place if they had focused from the beginning on 1 or 2 headsets instead of 87 that no one even knows about. But at the same time, they're pulling through. They're somehow still here.
Right?
They're somehow still shipping headsets and talking about new ones. Yeah. It's crazy.
Who's using Pimax? It must be in the East, right? Like, can you guys help us with this?
I've never met someone with a Pimax headset, but I feel like for a long time they were kind of like, if you want something that was a little above and beyond as far as like resolution, they were one of the best options. And I feel like that's kind of the niche they maybe should have stuck with. Like, this is like, if you want like premium high quality, this is the company you go with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's not. But that's the thing. Right? You're like, okay, 200 degree field of view if you're running a NASA supercomputer. Sweet, right? But it's like, oh, okay, well, talk to me about this fantastic microphone in the headset or these great speakers. No, none of that's there, right? It's like you have some pretty clear visuals and a high degree field of view that's possible, not probable, but possible if you have the right hardware. But then it's not very comfortable either. So I don't know. They're kind of all over the place, and I truly want to see them succeed. I want to see them come out with this next headset or line of headsets and just knock it out of the park. And then all of a sudden we have yet another company doing great things in VR, because they are doing great things in VR. Don't get me wrong. I'm listing some of the negatives, but there are positives, right? But I do want to see them succeed. I want to see HTC succeed.
That would be really cool.
You know what I mean? I want to see them come back and be a dominant force in VR again. I don't know what this headset is that we talked about last week's episode, that they've been teasing on Twitter about a new thin, small, lightweight headset, but I want to see them come out and be a dominant force in VR again.
You guys, you got that HTC headset laying around over there? That little secret HTC?
We don't even have a Vive.
Yeah, not anymore. Actually, I don't even have an Index.
Index, that's the one, yeah.
Yes.
HTC is our blind spot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I love my Index. Still, to this day. I mean, it's broken all the time. Like, things break on it constantly.
Dude,
but I still love it.
You're going into the red over here, bro. I'm like watching you. You're just dancing in the red. You feel me?
Oh.
You're dancing in there, baby.
Oh, okay.
You're loving it.
Okay. I'll be careful of that.
Is that how you fix it right there? Oh, I can hear it. Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Okay, thanks for
there's
checking
a couple
those
of times
audio
where it's
levels.
like that bolsterous voice came out, and I was like, oh, whoa.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I get excited.
Yeah.
Like, oh, talk to me about hardware, baby.
Hardware. Well, hardware is
thanks for watching
this is the time. Like, there's a lot of exciting hardware stuff going on, and we're all like existing in like the potential of what will be, you know, seeing all of these early images and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, who would have guessed in 1990 that Sony would have one of the dominant home consoles? It's just, technology is weird.
It is weird. But what's crazy is, like, when you say who would have guessed in 1990, to me I was like, oh yeah, that was yesterday. But then I'm like, wait a second, 1990, 2000, 2010, 2020. Wow. That's over 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
World. That sucks.
Yeah.
We're going to die tomorrow.
Yeah. It's nuts. It's like, people I went to high school with have kids that are like going to homecoming, and I'm like, what did I do for the past 15 years exactly? Like, how is that possible? Like, getting older is weird, everybody.
Thanks for making me feel young on that one. Huh?
Yeah, it's nuts. I'm like, hold on. I went to homecoming with you, and now your daughter is going to homecoming. That's
funny.
That's crazy.
But back in the day, what did all our parents tell us though? Video games will never get you anywhere. Look at us all sitting here now.
Well,
and
they got
don't
us
talk
here.
to strangers on the internet, but we wouldn't be anywhere without that.
Yeah, exactly.
Straight up, dude. My wife was a stranger on the internet. Skiva was a stranger on the internet. Like, all of the people important in my life to me were strangers.
That's right, kids. Play video games and talk to strangers.
Yeah.
I remember in sixth grade, I was begging my dad to buy me the Nintendo Wii, and I remember him going, "What's the point? You're going to be over video games in a year anyway."
Oh, Dad.
I showed him.
Yeah, we all showed all of our parents, didn't we? It's pretty great. You hear that, Dad? You hear that?
You were wrong.
Going to be over video games next year. Oh man, that one aged poorly.
Yeah, it's really funny watching like the old like Pokemon news stories, because people are like, how do we cure Pokemon fever? And everyone's just like, it's the next fad. Just wait till the next fad comes along, and then all the kids will move on. And it was like, yeah, right, dude. They are creating core memories right now. Like, and you guys aren't giving them the benefit of the doubt. You know?
This is true.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna buy and play the new Pokemon game when it comes out. Boom.
We've been talking about that a lot. I'm really excited to play that with my friends.
Me too, especially because it looks like it's going to be playable as a co-op experience, like throughout the game, which to me sounds very, very exciting, because trading and battling is fun and all, but I want to like experience the game with people. That's like what pulls me into MMORPGs, is because like we can go do the quests together. Like I can help you, you can help me, like that level of like connection and like interoperability between the people in the experience is like, that's the stuff that hooks me.
Yep, it is. That's a big deal.
Are you gonna be playing the new WoW expansion when that comes out?
You know, I am playing the classic WoW expansion right now, actually.
Is that they're on Lich King, right?
Yep. Yeah, Wrath of Lich King just released a new patch, and I had like a group of people that I played Classic with, and like we all stopped, you know, when we reached our limit with the Burning Crusade, and you know, it's been some months since then, and then this game came out, and like the group gets together, and boom, here we are exploring a world together, and you know, it's really cool because I see VR obviously going down this path already. Like we have social VR, of course, which like VR chat and stuff, Rec Room. These are huge games, and I think that's because people can go in together. I think that's why they're so popular. Yeah. It's because you
people
can
like to hang out with their friends and do stuff with their hands. Yeah,
they do. Yeah. So you know, we've got like Zenith: The Last City. Right, Zenith: The Last City is there. It's great. It's an MMORPG. It gives us that opportunity, and you had your first MMORPG experience, really.
Yeah, I never really did much with MMOs. I was always more of a story-based person, or just shoot stuff. You know what I mean? And I was also really afraid that of the implications of me getting into a game like that, because I was already super video game obsessed. It had some impact, you know. I legit like Ocarina of Time came out. I got into that, and I couldn't stop playing. And I called my work. I'm like, yo, I quit. Bye.
Did you really?
Yeah, I really did. I was like, I'm out. I got to finish this game.
That is amazing.
Click. You know what I mean? Like,
thank you for making me feel young. You had a job when Ocarina of Time came out.
I did. I did. I'm super old. Nice. It was a crappy mall job. Like I was still kind of like trying to like finish. I think I was finishing high school or just did. Okay. But yeah, I'm old.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I would have quit a Sunglass Hut over Ocarina of Time for sure.
Yeah, that was the right choice.
Yeah. I think it was. I mean, this was not a career job. This was a, you know.
It is a good thing you never played WoW though.
Buy weed and birds. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you think quitting a single job is a big. Yeah, you would have quit life in general.
Yeah, well, I did. I did a lot of like most of my vacations before like a family were based around releases of games I was excited for. Like this game's coming out, I gotta take a vacation because it's all I want to do. Like I'm gonna sit and play this game until from the time that vacation starts to the time I go back to work.
That's amazing.
You know,
that's amazing. And frankly, it's almost a shame that you weren't playing an MMORPG at that time because those games are so good. Like,
well, I know, but
they're so good.
I would have been that guy that just never worked again. Do you know what I mean? Like I would have lost things and not had a place to live, and you know what I mean? Like I knew some of my shortcomings when it came to gaming, and so I was very careful. And WoW scared me because I kept seeing people getting divorced over this game and losing their places and like dying of malnutrition from just sitting there and playing this game. Like it was like that game was like something I had never seen before, and I was like really worried that you know.
Is there anything that's in VR like right now that is having that effect? Like, is anybody getting divorced because they are spending too much time in VR chat or?
Oh, I would think VR chat and social things like that. I mean, I spend stupid amounts of time in After the Fall and in Neos.
Right, but you wouldn't be like, no, I have to finish this harvest run, honey. I don't care if you're walking out the door. You know, you'd pull yourself out of that harvest run. There's like,
I mean, harvest runs. That's a grind that involves other people, and you have to finish that, or you let the whole team down. Sorry, honey.
Oh, dude, you would have gotten divorced. That's
well, so be it.
I think as VR becomes more mainstream, we're going to see more people. Like my wife left me because.
Yeah,
because of VR chat. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think so. Yeah,
that's very possible.
VR needs like its own League of Legends, like some competitive game that people that's the only game they play.
Yep.
Yes.
That is very true. A free game that everyone can get into and play it and grind, and like there is no real like end. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that is something that we absolutely need.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I love the MOBA
multiplayer RPG stuff. That might be a good time to talk about some of our ideas for the sequel we've been kicking around.
Ooh, whoa, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Let's hear this.
We are starting work on the sequel to Arcaxer, which does not have a title yet. For now, it's Arcaxer 2. But we want to put a big emphasis on co-op.
Yeah, baby.
So, yeah, the number one thing everybody asks when they join our Discord is, when is co-op showing up? And for now, the answer is
Never.
wait for the next game.
It's a very fundamental question, and
Yeah.
Anthony's got some pretty cool ideas trying to make it fun.
Yeah, we're super excited about this next game. We actually, so the secret boss that we are adding to this MetaQuest Store release version actually has a little bit of a preview for the combat mechanics I'm playing around with for the next game. So if you want to get a little taste of what the direction combat might be moving in, go fight that secret boss. It's going to be a little different.
Sweet.
Well, this is exciting. This is very exciting, because if people invest time in your game now, which you continue to update and continue to make better, and it's a long, beefy, meaty experience, then they have something to look forward to in the future already.
Well, and here's the thing, dude, because and this is why I think this is one of the reasons why I gravitate towards multiplayer experiences, because let's say I spend I don't know. Okay, whatever. I'm going to do it. Let's say I spend 500 hours in Arcaxer. Okay. And I level my character all the way up, and I have all these amazing stats, and I'm just like the best, who knows that? How do I celebrate those 500 hours? Where is the basis for comparison? My progression means a lot less when other progressions right alongside of it aren't there showing me how far ahead I am. So being able to have a character that I can progress and have someone else that I can share that with is, to me, it adds so much I don't know. It gives me a reason. It makes me feel better about the time that I'm spending. It adds way more value to that time that I'm spending. Being able to share it with someone, bounce it off of them, get some validation for that time that I've spent, and have it contribute to the gaming experience, because the better I am here, the better a teammate I am, and the more I can explore with my friends and all of that. You guys picking up what I'm putting down here?
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Leader itch.
Yeah, definitely. I also think things like cosmetics and stuff obviously mean a lot more when you're hanging out in your friend's world, and they can actually see oh, how did you get that skin? It makes that kind of thing a lot more interesting.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And that is where, in my opinion, where the opportunity to make some serious money is for multiplayer games. And that's also why I feel like you can make them free, because if it's a good game and it's free and people are playing it, it will not take long for people to open up their wallets to get something to separate themselves from the crowd.
And your friends are always going to push their friends to play with them,
right?
As opposed to going, try this game, it's really good, it's super good, you should play it. But it's not going to be dude, come on, let's get on. Come on, let's go. Are you coming?
Yep.
So
having them join the experience also just adds more value to the time and money that I've spent in there. Because if I spend $50 on an amazing skin in the game and my friends aren't joining me, telling me how cool it is, then what's the point? Which is a hilarious perspective, but that literally is it. You get it for other people, barely for yourself, especially in VR, because you're in first person, so you don't even really get to see yourself that much. It's like the others that are seeing.
Well, this is exciting because I think this co-op experience makes a lot of sense for the lore of this game as well, right? Because Arcaxer is all about all of these things coming together and all this data and all of this stuff from the internet, which the internet isn't a solo experience. So this is really cool to hear that in the future there is going to be shared experiences for this. Yeah,
and friendship is a really strong theme in Anthony's writing too. So.
That's a very Japanese RPG theme.
Yeah.
Friendship. Yeah.
Power of friendship.
The power of friendship.
We do need to kill God in the next one to really make ourselves a real JRPG.
I have to do a little god killing. We'll see about that.
It doesn't count if you don't kill at least one god.
True that. Well, so this is great. It's super exciting. And I am a little curious then. So you're going to do Arcaxer 2 instead of adding on to Arcaxer, and is that because of the story elements, because Arcaxer 1 is telling this story and you're putting a bow on it, or is it because the changes that you're implementing are so fundamental that you might as well start with a new code base and start it from there? You see what I'm trying to ask here?
It's kind of a combination. One, the story setting of the next game is very different than the first game. The worlds you're going to be playing in exist separately from the world of Arcaxer 1. But it's still the same universe. So there's actually some story elements in the post-game content of Arcaxer 1 that kind of hints at a lot of stuff in the next game. And then second, kind of like you said, there's very fundamental changes to combat. We're working on like an actual party system where you'd collect party members and equip them with gear and everything. So that's going to make the gameplay a lot different. And then that'll also play into the co-op element as well. So instead of having, your party members you collected in the story, maybe you'll have like your friend come in and that'll fill in as a party member.
That's a great approach. That's a great approach. It reminds me of like Diablo, or Diablo 2 or Diablo 3, where you can like team up with people, or you have like the mercenaries, so if you're just playing solo, you have mercenaries, you're throwing gear on them, it's all good, you have a little party running around with you. But obviously the like encouraged way to play would be to invite your friends in.
Yeah, it's definitely be a lot easier to get your friends in on a new foundational design than shoehorning it into the first one.
Right. Sweet. Well, I'm glad you guys are doing that, because you know, and anybody who knows me knows that most of my time is spent with other people in VR, and that's playing games with other people in VR. By the way, I don't spend a ton of time in social VR unless it's Neos, because there's so much going on in Neos. It's practically a game. Like, you can just have fun.
We got to check out your Neos Mario Kart. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to hop in there with you guys and really show you some cool Neo stuff, and show you kind of what we've been doing with Mario Kart. We've been me and Z have kind of paused on it a little bit, just because there's just so much going on all the time, right? And we all have to work too and make a living and do other things, but we are super excited to continue making progress on it, and until eventually we get to hang up and frame that nice DMCA takedown letter from Nintendo.
Yes. I was gonna say, when Nintendo sends you a cease and desist, it's how you know you did a good job.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Because so far, I think it surpasses any other kart stuff. I think it's better than the Bone Labs kart stuff. I think it's better than most of the kart racing stuff you see in VR right now already. So, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get hit with that Nintendo hammer.
Yeah, I can't wait. I will frame that for real.
Hell yeah,
for real.
Definitely. Although you have to probably print out an email or something. So
yeah, true. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, at that point, get it engraved.
Yeah, right.
It does blow my mind how many people have been introduced to Neos through you. Specifically, it is so crazy, because like, I can still remember my first time going into Neos, and that was you were not the one that pulled me in there. I think I was going in because Behaptics had just sent them some kit, and I was like going in to try everything and see what was going on in there, and I knew nothing going into Neos. I think this was before you even had tried Neos before. And I went in there and was completely blown away. And it was like that. And like, we were looking at a couple of other like metaverse apps, and I was just like telling Jen, I was like, yo, Jen, Neos is the one. Like, forget these other ones. Like, this is the one for sure. And Turk brought me in there, and the first thing that I saw was this cat choir. Have you ever seen the cat choir?
Oh yeah.
I loved it so much. It was this choir of like super cute, like kawaii cats that when you played a song file through them, and it might have needed to be like special song files, but each track of the song file was isolated to individual kitties in the band. So like the drums were coming from the drummer kitties, and the vocals were coming from the vocal kitties, and you could like walk.
That's
in
there, and it's evolved more too. There's a huge list of tracks.
It's so good. Yeah. It's so good. It blew my mind, and that was that was the moment where I realized Neos was an amazing thing.
To me, it was like it was going from VR chat to where you look around, and you're like, oh, that's pretty. Oh, that's nice. Can I touch that? Nope. Can I interact with that? Nope. Can I do anything here? No, not really. But it's cool looking. Yeah. And then going into Neos and being like, no, you can do anything here. Yeah. You can literally do anything. I can rip anything apart. I can add physics to things. I can add whatever. This doesn't work the way I want. Oh, let me just open an inspector window real quick and just put in the thing that I think it should do. Right? And then anywhere you go can be an interactive playground of anything. It is so literally your imagination completely and totally realized. Right? Which I don't know of anything else that's like that. Right? It's just so good. But it is very complicated. Your normal person goes in there, they see the UI, they look around and they're like, this is way too much for me. You know what I mean? And I get that. But that's why it's important to have the right people to go in with to show you these experiences.
Shout out to Turk for giving me my first games experience.
Heck yeah, Turk. But yeah, I'd love to bring you guys in as well. I know you've been in there a little bit, but you haven't gotten the Skiva treatment.
Bit,
Yeah, you need that Skiva treatment. Everybody needs a little Skiva treatment in their lives.
Well, cool. What do you say?
Yeah, so what's is there anything that's important about Overrun games or about Arcaxer that we haven't mentioned yet that you really want to make sure that we get to?
I would just say please play the game. We put a lot of time into it. And I think it's a really unique experience in VR. And I think you'd be doing yourself a favor if you tried it out.
Come say hi in Discord. We're doing a live stream on our YouTube page today, Friday. We're just doing kind of a community open hall, talking to people about the game.
Nice. And I want to say there's no excuse not to try this because there's a free demo on Steam. You can go in, it won't cost you a dime to just try this out and get hooked on it. So,
but not on Quest, I'm assuming.
We do still have the demo on Quest. The demo is remaining on App Lab for the moment, so you do have to dig a little bit more to find it. But the demo is still going to be there.
Sweet.
Damn, there you go. You can, if you're a Quest user or if you're a PC VR user, you can try this for free before you buy it and see if it's your jam or not.
How much do I buy it for?
It's going to be $24.99.
$24.99. That's like
for like
$1 an hour
for like 15 to 25 hours, or 30 hours, or whatever it's going to take you to get through this.
We really tried to give you your money's worth for sure.
Yeah,
and then that's just the first playthrough. There's 5 different classes.
That's just the story, and then if you really like the game from there, we have a infinite dungeon you can play through at the end, which will just keep scaling infinitely, so you can keep grinding and growing your character as long as you want. We have some guys in Discord that have been playing the game for hundreds of hours at this point.
Wow.
Yeah.
The fun and the value never end with Arcaxer on the official Quest store as of yesterday. Woo!
Yes.
Well, congratulations, you guys. I know we've kind of talked about it, but it is no small feat to get onto the Quest store, especially as a small, intimate team like you guys have. And we've played the game. We're fans of it. We've known you guys for a while now, and it's really awesome to see the progression of all of this. Just going from side quest to App Lab to now the Quest store, and then I guess the moon after that, right? So, congratulations.
We are going to the moon. That is true.
Congratulations, you guys, again. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It's been awesome just chatting about Arcaxer and about VR in general. And go play the game, everybody. And we're going to be keeping our eyes on you and looking for updates for future platforms for Arcaxer, and then exciting leaks and details about Arcaxer 2 whenever that time comes. So thanks, guys, again for joining us.
We're going to kick you off the ship.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, Aaron and Anthony from Arcaxer / Overrun Games, the new game on the Quest store starting yesterday. I hope you all.
That was fun. That was awesome talking to those guys. What some great, passionate developers. Like that's the dream, right? Like people grow up like loving video games, and then they're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to like, meet a friend and like make a game someday and have it be a thing. And these guys are living the dream. So I'm super excited for them, and they made a great game. And
dude, it's for that reason so cool. That like I have a hard time dogging people even when they make a bad game.
Yeah.
Because it's like these are people who love this stuff so much that they cannot ignore the impulse to contribute. They had to quit their job at the grocery store or at the office or whatever so they could go and make games. And it's a bummer that their ambition might have surpassed their ability a little bit from time to time, which just sucks, but that's why I can't just sit there and be like, you guys suck. Like, what are you doing when people put out games that are less than awesome, you know? Thankfully for the Arcaxer guys, that's not the case.
Yes.
They actually did make a great game, and everybody should definitely go out and try it.
And these two guys put more meat on their game than some of these huge mega studios, which is nuts.
seriously.
It's nuts. So
seriously, and that's what triggers again the whole app lab / quest store conversation. It's like, okay, hold on, you know, like some of these games should have been on there by now. Compared to some of the stuff that's on.
For real.
Yeah.
For real. Well, heck, this was fun.
Yeah,
and,
it was.
I'm excited. I'm excited to get more into this game and to see how the launch goes.
Yep.
Or see how it went.
I know. There's pros and cons to doing these pre-recorded episodes.
I know.
Right? Like it's cool because we can watch it live, right?
Yeah,
we can be
chat
in the
with all of our
in the premiere. That's fun.
Wonderful community members.
It's also great to have the flexibility to like record when it's convenient, when it makes sense for us, you know. But the live shows, man, like that is always going to be our format.
I miss Mike Newton saying the weekend.
Right? Well, no one knows the precise day that it currently is at the time of recording right now.
This is true.
Let's keep it ambiguous.
It's a mystery.
So do we have do we know what we're doing whenever we do this again?
We don't. We will be back next Friday. We do have a guest plan that we're just waiting on a confirmation from, and then then we will be back.
Yeah, dude,
with more peeps.
This is the season of guest mystery.
Well, it's a good reason to follow us on Twitter, right? Follow us on social media because we definitely talk about this stuff before it happens. So follow us. Twitter, wherever, I guess. I mean, Twitter's really the big one for me at least.
We want to do more with our Discord.
Yes.
Sure. You know, join the Discord. There's going to be a link. There's links to everything, frankly, in the description below.
Yeah, you can
explore that description.
You can get to Arcaxer on all the different builds in the links in the description as well.
Yep. So join our Discord. You know, we're forming ourselves a nice little fun community, and there's regular gaming sessions amongst all of the BR fam that's been happening, which I love to see. Like, I would be amazing if we had like a different game for every day of the week, you know. And if you want to play after the fall, it's Tuesdays with Between Realities, you know, or you want to play Walkabout, it's Wednesdays, or whatever it is, you know. Like that's just me dreaming about the potential of what could be.
Absolutely.
But not without you guys joining the Discord. So join it. And thank you again to all of our Patreons and channel members. It means so much to us because we're not rich yet. And until we are, these contributions mean a lot.
They do.
Yes.
They make it so we can do all of these things. And when things break, we can replace things. And that happens a lot. So
yes, it does. Yeah. Yes, it does. So that's that. Thanks again for watching. Skiva, it's always a pleasure, brother. Thanks for being awesome.
You too, buddy.
And we will see you all next Friday for another exciting episode of the Between Realities VR podcast. Official upload correspondence available on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, iTunes, or wherever else you get your podcasts. Have a lovely weekend, and we'll see you next time on Between Realities.
Bye-bye.